So it's called Opening the Way in-game cinematic. Let's see. Dude, Blizzard's in-game cinematics have gotten so good.
Halt! You trespass in Shakar territory. Explain what you are
Oh, shit.
doing here.
Yeah, of course. How did you think that was gonna go, bro?
Can we get on with it?
I
You
love
said
Farak,
we'd
bro.
find it here.
We have. From what I have transcribed, Neltharion had a hidden path to Avarice, just below this ridge.
Sealed beneath earth and water. Undisturbed for thousands of years.
Then let us open the way.
Jeez, dude. The voice acting is so good.
Farak, you will feast upon the elemental power below. Wake the elders from their slumber and incinerate any who stand in our way.
Exquisite.
Oh my god.
In his
bro.
wake, the Dracthyr will succumb to the temptation of avarice and unleash the aspect's darkest nightmares.
Come, we have much to do. Let the children of Neltharion claim their birthright.
Okay, that just... I mean, for most of it, it really is just cool, right? There wasn't much, I think, in the form of massive reveals. It was really just a cool cinematic opening the way. But this final bit is really interesting. So let's just talk about that for like 2 seconds. They knew exactly what they were doing in opening this way. They specifically wanted the Dracthyr to find it. And the way they speak about it, let's just quickly, I just wanna...
Exquisite. In his wake, the Dracthyr will succumb to the temptation of avarice and unleash the aspect's darkest nightmares.
The Dracthyr will succumb to the temptation of avarice. Dude, I am more convinced than ever that void was used in the creation of the Dracthyr. And it actually goes so much deeper than just a feeling. Like, if I can show you guys this quickly, right? So I've been writing a couple of things, a couple of threads, I guess you could say, about the misconceptions that exist in World of Warcraft around the creation of basically everything, right? So if you look at this, for example, right? You look at how, like, what we've been told and how we've been told things happen. We have always been led to believe that we are the children of the Keepers, or specifically of the Titans. The Titans made us from clay, stone, and metal, and then the old gods gifted us with the curse of flesh. But there's some relatively interesting reveals from the books that I didn't previously put into perspective as well. Keepers, and this is from the Prime Designate, so this is from Odin himself. Keepers, it has been brought to my attention that as of late, many of you have become fascinated by the emergence of mortal beings. That's not by mortal beings, by our constructs being changed into mortal beings, or by the affliction of our constructs into mortal beings. The emergence of mortal beings. In other words, perhaps the entire history, the entire story of our creation is completely bogus. It's lies. The old gods, or more specifically, the chaos of the old gods, led to our creation. I'll explain it. Let me just run you guys through this Twitter thread, and you can tell me if you agree. Imagine Azeroth before the arrival of the Titans. An empire spans the entirety of the planet, gods reigning over their chosen territory. These gods create beings of flesh to use in their eternal game for domination. Mortal beings of varying sizes, shapes, and types. Keepers, it has been brought to my attention. Next one. Another god arrives. One who looks upon this empire with absolute disdain. It cannot fathom the chaos of it all. Everything allowed to exist in a natural chaotic state. So it sets out to recreate this world, to order it. Yet even as we guide their development according to the edicts of the Titans, we must always remember that mortal minds are destined to be small and incapable of complex understanding. Therefore, as your Prime Designate, I must establish a few minor but necessary regulations to govern your interactions with these nascent beings. And those interactions, by the way, or the necessary regulations, has to do with never revealing what the old gods had created. So we'll go through them. It's important to note that in the Titan language, there are no differences between ordering and creating. As Tyr himself stated, nothing can be created without being ordered first. Second, attribute all accomplishments and works of wonder to the Titans alone. Despite the relentless arguments made by some of you, this is not a fallacy after all. Can anything truly be said to exist until it has been ordered? Of course not. Therefore, it is irrefutable that the Titans are the source of all creation. This action nearly destroys the planet, leaving a gaping wound at its center. With direct violence now out of the question, the Titans do what comes naturally. They use the mortals created by the dark gods and turn them into metal and stone. So my argument here is that it wasn't metal and stone first, and then came the gift of flesh. It was first the curse of stone that turned us from mortal fleshy beings into Titan constructs, ordering us, so to speak. So the old gods simply re-gifted us with the curse of flesh. They simply turned us back into mortals, back into flesh. In this instance, they lose complete self-control and become bound to the will of the Titans. Now an army of order, they march on the old gods. The war effort goes nowhere. The dark gods are simply too powerful. They need a different approach, something where pure military might isn't a deciding factor. So they start shaping a new Azeroth. The new continent taking shape is named Kalimdor, Land of Eternal Stars. But what do they do with Ny'alotha. The Titans empowered a number of races to help them fashion the world, to help them carve out the fathomless caverns beneath the earth. The Titans created the dwarf-like earthen from magical living stone to help them dredge out the seas and lift the land from the sea floor. The Titans created the immense but gentle sea giants. For many ages, the Titans moved and shaped the earth until at last there remained one perfect continent. The note here from Deathwing himself: the author of this tome is either a liar or a fool. Were they truly ignorant of that which lies beyond the waves, or were they merely commanded to spread Titan propaganda? And then finally, the one thing they have always done: the Old World, Ny'alotha in the Old Tongue, and Avaloran in the Titan Tongue will be closed off. A veil will be resurrected around the continent to ensure no dark influence can reach it proper. Rise, rise, our queen calls to us from beyond the umbral veil. She has transcended the circle of stars and basks in her eternal grandeur. A final gift, however, from the gods, the gift of flesh. As free will rushes back into the mortals of Azeroth, they leave the side of the Titans, but sadly it's too late. The veil is up, and the dark gods can only influence from afar, their true forms locked outside. And this... Sadly, I ran out of time, but I wanted to add the whisper from Il'gynoth to this, where upon his death, Il'gynoth says, "N'Zoth, I journey to Ny'alotha." My current speculation is that the old gods that we see on Azeroth, the locked up old gods that we see on Azeroth, are not in fact on Azeroth. So after the old gods after the Titans had shaped this new Kalimdor, created this new continent that they call Azeroth, the original, the ordered version of it, the old gods now stuck in Avaloran, incapable of basically breaking through into Avaloran, into Kalimdor, managed to get their essence through. So you guys know that story in Chronicles that speaks about the essences of the old gods flung into the great beyond? Think of it like that. The old gods stuck in Ny'alotha or Avaloran, depending on whose word you're going to be using. The only way for them to gain access to this new continent that they have now effectively been kept out of is to send their own essence into this world. Because none of this makes sense in any other way, shape, or form. Deathwing's note doesn't make sense, because Deathwing says that the continent already existed and then the name for this continent had been changed from what it used to be called. We're told that the Titans were the ones that recarved the world after they dealt with the Titans. So the timeline cannot, after they dealt with the old gods. So the timeline at this point cannot be trusted. The only thing we know for a fact now, in my estimation, is that we are not the children of Titans. We're almost definitely not the children of Titans. Now, back to, because I will be linking it to the cinematic, the same thing that gives us our free will, that semblance of shadow, that semblance of void, that perhaps had a hand in our creation, the gift of flesh, is the very thing that Deathwing used to create the Dracthyr. This is why when you look at the Dracthyr, they are incredibly individualistic. They question everything. They do not just follow. They're very difficult to control. And as soon as Deathwing or Neltharion loses the Titan artifact, he immediately decides to place all of them in stasis. Because he understands that that element, that gift of flesh, it can't be undone. Once it's there, that freedom can't be taken away. But this also means that it will call to the Dracthyr. That essence, that little bit of void essence, it'll call to them. This is why Sarkareth is drawn to Aberrus, because his true destiny lies within Aberrus. This is why he's able to accept the void in its full form. Spoilers, he's one of the fights in the raid in Aberrus. I believe he's the final fight in Aberrus. So, to my mind, the only problem I still have with this entire cinematic is how in the hell does Iridikron and Virnoth know about this? How do they understand and know all of these secrets? Were they once friends of Naltharion? Were they once allies of Naltharion? Did Naltharion share this with them? Or is it all just finding notes and secrets and passages from Naltharion's time that allowed them to discover it? We know that Virnoth went off and she deciphered the codex that they found in the first cinematic. So is it the codex that told them all of this? Could there be something deeper into it? Farak is a very interesting character that, as far as I know, List has one with Terran. Terran was the GM with Ian Azikostas, and Max from Liquid has one, I guess, with Morgan. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, D-Wolf. Farak is an interesting character, just because of, like, he seems to have qualities that doesn't make sense at all, especially in this cinematic where he's told, you will go down and you will feast upon the energies within this cavern. And you will awaken the elders. So feasting on this energy is what will awaken the elders. And of course they want the elders because they and the Jordan now have a pact. They have a deal. The deal to take down the aspects. The elders is going to be their own list of problems as far as I can tell. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised at this cinematic, if I'm honest with you. It's really good, really well done. And again, Blizzard keeps surprising me with seemingly mundane cinematics. Because again, there's a little bit of grandiose, you know, it looks really cool, and him breaking through that valley or that lake looks really awesome. But for the most part, this entire cinematic is a discussion. It's conversation. And it's as good, if not better, than most of the other cinematics. So yeah, I would absolutely say Blizzard is killing it at the minute. And you want to know how you know that? You want to know how you know that this, like, Dragonflight is truly successful? In Shadowlands, Blizzard would bring out these cinematics, one after the other. And the cinematics would, I remember we watched one cinematic, it was specifically the cinematic with Sylvanas and the Pocket Watch. That cinematic barely got 200k views. Like, barely 200k views. We still went and we looked at the World of Warcraft channel and we were like, how does this compare to the other videos? And then you see the other videos and they're like on 500,000, some of them over 1 million views. And this one is on 200,000. It's like a week old, 2 weeks old already. It's barely getting no views for a game that's supposed to be very large. This is 1 day old and it's already at 400k views. The Pocket Watch, not the Pocket Watch, the Compass. Sorry, the Compass. Ice and Earth, shot from Iridikron and Virnoth, look like Azerite on purpose. No, it probably is just... interesting.
Hour below. Wake the elders from...
It does look a little like Azerite, doesn't it? It could be a coincidence. It could not. I don't know what the significance of this would be. I would have to think about the significance of it. What it means. On the one hand, I can give you my theory. I believe that Deathwing wasn't whispered to by the old gods. I don't believe that Deathwing was serving the old gods. I believe that Deathwing was serving Azeroth. The madness, so to speak, that was attributed to Deathwing, the fact that he went crazy, Deathwing learned the truth. Azeroth shared with him the truth of what had transpired, of what had happened to her, but also to the mortal races and also to them as dragons. I believe the Primal Incarnates are the ones who actually serve Azeroth. So it might be possible that the blood that we see truly is just the water and the earth elementals that form part of Azeroth. So that's why it took on that sort of weird hue. But then at the same time, there's not much else you could do to not get that color. Because she does make ice. Ice is blue, mostly in games. Ice will be blue. Or bluish, since it's water that's turned into ice. And earth does have that color. So it could just be a complete coincidence. Which is also possible. The warrior, how you doing, bro? But no, all in all, I think really, really good cinematic. I will probably have a lot more to say about it during the show on Monday, when I've had time to really absorb and really look into it. Because there's not, like I said, there's not much in the cinematic. It really is just an opening the way cinematic to show what is to come. Oh my god, the last 20 seconds of the cinematic is juicy AF. Well done, Blizzard. Well done. What did you guys think of it? Did you enjoy the cinematic?